Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Kicking Balls FC Late Night Edition, right? And it's the eve of the World Cup. We're basically about 10 hours away from kickoff from Qatar versus Ecuador. And let me tell you, I'm excited. The World Cup is finally here. Better late than never, right? And I just can't believe that we're going to have the World Cup in the fall and winter time, right? So, we're just going to get onto it. We're going to do my prediction of how the groups are going to turn out after everything is said and done, and then give you my reasoning of why I chose those specific countries moving on to the knockout stages, and then deciding which countries are going to go far and go to the final and eventually win the World Cup, right? So, again, welcome, guys. I hope you guys are resting. I hope you guys are excited. I'm excited about the World Cup because I wouldn't be staying up this late, talking about it. But let's get to it, man. Let's get to it. So we have this bracket here that FIFA actually made, and it's a predictor of basically who's coming in first, second, third, and fourth of each group, right? And some FYI, there has been a lot of things happening in Qatar. Some stuff that is, not player related, more politically related, religious related, um, PR related, but we're not going to get into that right now. This is solely on just talking about, you know, what the players view because it's the players who wants to play in the World Cup. It's all about them. They have a dream. It's not their job to, you know, be everyone's, PR person or that knows everything about world affairs, right? So, we know the situation in Qatar. We know that it's weird. We know all the scandals, all the um, controversies, the human rights violations, the corruption, all that stuff. So, let's get that out of the way. So, let's talk about Group A, right? So, Group A, we have Qatar, Senegal, Ecuador, and Netherlands. Now, Qatar is the host country, and a little bit of history for you guys. Every single host country has made it out of the group stage except for one time, and that was in 2010 in South Africa. South Africa was the only host nation to not make it out of the group. So I believe that Qatar will probably be the second host nation not to make it out of the group because Qatar has a very tough draw. Now, mind you, at first, I did have Senegal getting out of the group, but since Mane is out, I don't see them as dangerous. But I still believe maybe I have to retract my statement. I still see them good enough to get out. So I'm going to have Netherlands at first, Senegal in second, Ecuador in third, and then Qatar at last. Ecuador has a very good, talented team. Don't get me wrong, but they are a young team, right? And sometimes, things don't go their way. And Ecuador hasn't gone out of the round of 16, I think, since 2006, I believe, since they did it in Germany. So I think this is kind of be like baptism by fire. Netherlands, they are just stacked with talent. They missed the World Cup before. They came back at it again, and they are looking really, really good. Senegal, even without Mane, I still think that they are a formidable team that can get out. Ecuador, that was a tough one because I really wanted Ecuador to get to the second spot, but I don't know. Like, it's just something tells me that Ecuador is going to fall short and slightly. It could be probably in goal differential, or it could be a difference of, goals scored. All right, let's look at Group B. So we got Iran, USA, England, and Wales. So when we have that, let me put a little bit music on so that way you know, right? So 'cause we don't want it to be just drowning out, right? So there's a reason why, because my team, the United States, is in it, right? So this is by far one of the toughest groups considered by the FIFA rankings, right? Um, and there's a lot of factions here, a lot of factors, I should say. Iran is basically almost like a home team. They're right next to Qatar, right? So every game should feel like a home field advantage for Iran. But their striker situation doesn't look good, and they did switch managers. Now, mind you, it's the manager that coached them in 2018 in Russia, but I don't know of the cohesion that it's going to do. And then also, there's some outside forces that is also affecting the Iranian team. There's a situation happening in Iran, and I don't know if that's going to also take a toll on the team. So I don't see Iran getting out of the group. So it's basically between the United States, England, and Wales. I think I would say that England are the favorites to get out of the group. They have the talent. They have the past experiences of going into the semifinals in Russia and then make it to the Euro final, but losing. So I think England is going to go first place, but it's not going to be convincing. I don't think it's going to be convincing. I think it's going to be a nail biter. It's going to be much closer than people anticipate. A lot of people think that England is just going to walk into this group, but we've remembered history before when England has said that they're going to walk through the group. I'm remembering 2010 in South Africa, where they call it easy, but yet the United States went first. And then again, England were knocked out of the group stage in Brazil, right? So I think now that England has immense pressure, I think the pressure is going to be too much for them, in my opinion, right? And then Southgate has made very questionable decisions on the lineup and everything. So, but I still think that they have enough to get to the the next stage. So the second team that is going to go next, it's going to be the United States. I think the United States are going to somehow make it out of the group. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be aesthetically pleasing to the eye. Let me add that. But they're going to go in by the skin of their teeth. And here's why. Because Greg Berhalter, the coach of the United States team, it's almost like a mirror image of Southgate. The only difference is that the difference between Southgate and Berhalter is that Berhalter actually has won continental titles, two of them actually, the Nations League and the Gold Cup, right? So I feel that Greg Berhalter is actually better suited in a tournament style type of game for the United States, because even though the United States weren't convincing, during the Gold Cup and Nations League, when it really mattered, they turned up in the moment that it was needed. So I have the United States, going. I have them going into the next round. And this young team is going to be a very surprising team, right? And I'm not saying it as a United States men's, fanboy, but I truly believe they're going to rise to the occasion. And there might be some, hidden, unrated stars that are going to come out of this group. Third and fourth, I seriously think that it's between Iran and Wales. I think that Iran probably is going to be third because they just are the home country. And, it's for, pride. And then Wales, unfortunately, I think that, the long wait of finally going back to a World Cup is going to be too much. And then Gareth Bale, even though he did play really well with LAFC, um, they have been actually been rumors talking about they've just like are toiling in the sun, and a lot of their games are actually in the daytime. So, and if it's against Iran, I think Iran has the advantage. So that's going to be Group B. So Group C, we have Saudi Arabia, Mexico, Argentina, and Poland, right? So this one's pretty easy. I think Argentina is going to go first because, they've been on fire. They haven't lost a game in like 30 plus games. And they're probably going to break the record in the most consecutive wins in a nation since I think Italy did it. The next second place is, I think, between Mexico and Poland. Mexico, for the past World Cups, have always got out of the group stage. They always made it to the round of 16. But in my opinion, this is not the best Mexico team I've seen in a very long time. And it all has to do with their coach, Tata Martino, that was just hesitant to bring young players into the play for the Mexican squad. And El Tri, I think that I really want to believe they're gonna make it out, because somehow, some way, they do make it out anytime. But there's something inside me that says that first game where Mexico plays Poland, I think Poland might edge out, and we're gonna see a Lewandowski masterclass, because Mexico just recently played a friendly against Sweden, who didn't make it to the World Cup, and they play a very similar style as Poland, and Sweden won, right? And Poland beat Chile, and they know exactly how to play. They're going to basically absorb pressure and hit you in the counter, and then their aerial danger, because they're very tall players. So I think that, I'm sorry for my L3 brothers and sisters. I don't see you guys going through. I think Poland is going to go in second, and then it's going to be Mexico third, and then Saudi Arabia fourth. And Saudi Arabia, the reason why it's fourth is because a lot of their players play domestically, and I think that's going to be, the difference maker. They might feel like they're playing at home, but I don't know. I'm not convinced. Group D. So here we have Tunisia, Denmark, France, and Australia, right? I think that the curse is going to come in this World Cup, but not the way you think it's going to happen. So for the past 3 World Cups, we've seen, the champion getting out of the group stage. So it happened with Italy, it happened with Spain, and it happened with Germany. I think France is going to lose one of the group stage games, and I think Denmark is going to go on top, because Denmark is a dark horse, in my opinion. It's one of the dark horse teams to, maybe make a deep run and even possibly get into the World Cup final. And then I would have France, and between Tunisia and Australia, Australia did make it to the World Cup via playoff. And I'm not too familiar with Tunisia, but I think that Tunisia might have the edge over Australia because they are closer to home. Okay, we got Group E: Japan, Costa Rica, Germany, and Spain. So here, it's pretty much straightforward. It's kind of basically the group of death, in my opinion. Japan, Japan is a very good team, but I don't think they're necessarily at the level to beat big teams yet. They're getting there, but I'm not convinced, because we remember how they played against Belgium in the last World Cup. They were winning, but then they basically lost it all, and it was unfortunate. And I don't think they have the players necessary to make a shock. It would be shocking if they did. Costa Rica's team is aging out. Keylor Navas is probably at his last World Cup. They did make it via playoff, right? But at the same time, I don't know if Costa Rica has enough. They could, but if they do somehow make a shocking result, it has to do with Keylor Navas, just because he's one of the best goalkeepers so far right now before he retires. But I think between Germany and Spain, I think I have Germany going first and then Spain going second, because Spain does have a little bit of drama going on right now with the coach. And Germany is getting back to the Renaissance again. And then I have Japan and then Costa Rica. All right. So Group F, we got Morocco, Canada, Belgium, and Croatia. I have Croatia going in first because Croatia still remembers the bitter defeat of France in the World Cup final last 4 years ago and wants to correct these things. And Luka Modric from Real Madrid, he, even though he's like 37, he ages like fine wine, and they have a good team, Croatia, right? Belgium's golden generation is basically phasing out, and they haven't looked really well. And I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna shock a lot of people. I think Canada is gonna make it into second place because they have speed, they have exciting players like Alphonso Davies, Tejan Buchanan, Jonathan David, Extasio, I believe is his name, and some other hidden gems as well. And I think Canada is going to shock a lot of people in the world. And I'm really cheering for my Canadian brothers up north, and hopefully you guys do make a good showing there. And then I think Belgium misses out. I think we've finally finished the golden generation, and they need to reset because it's not the same Belgium we've seen in the last couple of World Cups. They had so many opportunities, but it never phased out. And I think the last opportunity was the last World Cup in Russia, right? Group G, we got Cameroon, Brazil, Switzerland, and Serbia. I think I have Brazil going in first, of course, because they're Brazil, and I have my little jersey. It's no bias. I just think Brazil are one of the best teams in the world. Everybody cheers for Brazil, except if you're Argentinian. The second place, I think it has to do between Switzerland and Serbia. And if I would put money on it, I would say Switzerland. I think Switzerland would be good because they did shock France in the Euros, and they do have a good team. And Serbia just misses us out just because I don't think their players are good for this climate in Qatar. I think a lot of the European teams that play in the daytime are going to just suffer. And yes, you may say, yeah, they're air-conditioned stadiums, but let me tell you, air conditioning can only help you so much in a stadium. So I think Serbia is out, and then Cameroon, they haven't looked very convincing. But thank you so much for joining, Cameroon. And then Group H, we have Korea, Ghana, Uruguay, and Portugal. So I would say Portugal is going to go in first because of Cristiano Ronaldo. This is his last shot before he retires, and I think he is going to retire because he has all that drama going on. But then again, there is drama going on with Ronaldo and his teammates. But even with that drama, I still think Portugal is going to go through first. They just have a lot of talent. And then the second one is going to be Uruguay. Uruguay with Luis Suarez, and then that awesome midfielder from Real Madrid, Valverde. He's just astronomical, man. Really good. And then I would have Korea edging out Ghana, right? So those are my picks right here. Okay, here we go. So this is the bracket that we have right now. These are the knockout stages. So we have Netherlands versus the United States, Argentina versus France, Germany versus Canada, Brazil versus Uruguay, England versus Senegal, Denmark versus Poland, Croatia versus Spain, and Portugal versus Switzerland. Oh boy. Okay, so here in the round of 16, I have the United States basically edging out Netherlands. And here's why I say that. Is because I think we're probably going to have one of the best showings. This United States team reminds me so much of the 2002 World Cup team from Korea and Japan. I just see something in them that they can make it into the quarterfinals, and I see that happening with the United States. Netherlands is a good team, don't get me wrong, but they are vulnerable, especially in the flanks. And if you remember, Netherlands weren't that good during qualifying. And even with the new coach, he's been strengthening a couple of things, but I just think that the United States might edge out just a little bit. It might be in extra time or in penalty kicks, because if it's in penalty kicks, I have the United States edging out because we do have a penalty take stopper, even Horvath on there. Here we go. So we got Argentina versus France, the rematch that happened 4 years ago. And I think Argentina is going to come for revenge and are going to knock out France out of the World Cup. What sweet, sweet revenge. Messi, I see Messi and the rest of Argentina just having a thrill house versus France. And France will basically phase out because Karim Benzema is actually out injured. So that's actually a very, very big blow to France. And I think that will be a big blow for their aspirations. Next is Germany versus Canada. And I think here, the dream for the Canadians and I think I have Germany edging out. But then again, Canada did a wonderful job. You guys were really good. But this game, I think, is going to be very neck and neck. It's actually going to be a lot closer than a lot of people think. But I think that Germany has more quality than Canada. And also remember that Alphonso Davies and a couple of other Canadian players, especially Alphonso Davies, has had lingering injury issues. And if Alphonso Davies is injured and maybe another playmaker like Eustaquio is out, that also affects the team because, you can only do so much. But, good job, Canada. Then we have Brazil versus Uruguay. This is basically the 1950 final rematch. Where the horrible thing that happened in Maracanã. This would probably be one of the most exciting, round of 16 matches of all of them. It sucks that, Uruguay and Brazil, the two South American teams, have to square against each other. So in my opinion, I have Brazil edging out Uruguay. Just because of the talent they have. Brazil's talent is just ridiculous. They're so damn good. Then we have England versus Senegal. So for this one, I want to say England has this in the bag. I do. But I would have said Senegal, especially if Mane was healthy. If Mane was healthy, I would have Senegal going through. But since Mane is injured, I think I'm going to have England going through the quarterfinals right here. So for me, that is going to happen because England does have more quality. And I don't know I think with Mane, that's a difference maker for England. No, Mane is a difference for Senegal. And I think that, it's unfortunate. And then I have Denmark versus Poland. And I think I have Denmark edging over Poland just because of just how good of a team Denmark is. They are truly the dark horses. Then we have Croatia versus Spain. I have Spain going through just because of the quality they have. And I think Luka Modric just basically ends his career with Croatia, and I don't think there's a second chance to go to the World Cup final for Croatia. I think that dream is done right then and there. Then we have Portugal versus Switzerland. So here I have Portugal going through just because of the talent alone. Switzerland could do something. They could do something like they did against France, but I just have a feeling that Portugal might go through. So here are the quarterfinals right here. We got the United States versus Argentina, Germany versus Brazil, England versus Denmark, Spain versus Portugal. All right, so these are my quarterfinals. And here, oh my gosh, if this is the quarterfinal, if this is it, It's because I really want Messi to win the World Cup. I really do. But at the expense of knocking out the United States? Because let me tell you, let's say, for example, if the United States does knock out Argentina, that would be that would be like the greatest thing to happen for the United States soccer program. But at the same time, a lot of people will be so sad for not having Messi going to the final, right? Um, I, I think Argentina is gonna go through. Yeah, I really wish I could say the United States, but your luck can only push you so far. It can only push you so far, right? So, unfortunately, the United States is knocked out in the quarterfinals. We basically repeat the best, modern day finish of the World Cup since 2002, and I think that would be very poetic in that way. But I would say that it would probably be a close game, closer than a lot of people would realize. I think it would probably take like a brilliance from Messi, and it has to, and I think a lot of the United States players and team and fans should be very proud of that effort. So Argentina goes through. So Brazil versus Germany. Ooh, the rematch of that horrible game, the 7-1. In this one, no questions asked. Brazil is out for blood. In this one, this would be one of the greatest rematches, and I hope it does happen because I know that Brazil, especially Neymar, will use this as motivation to basically tear this German team apart because they want that revenge. They know what happened in Brazil, that 7-1. So what better way to make things right by making a 7-1 against Germany, right? Now, is that a likely occurrence to happen? Probably not, but can you imagine if it did? It would be pretty epic. But I do have Brazil going through. Now I have England versus Denmark, and I have Denmark going in. I think England's luck runs out there because I think with Christian Eriksen and just the togetherness that this Denmark team is, I just see them more equipped to go into the next level, and that's why they're the dark horse. And then we have Spain versus Portugal, the Arabian Peninsula rivalry, right? So this one's a tricky one because my head says Portugal, but my heart says Spain. This would be a toss-up, I think. I think it would be a toss-up. I think for me, I'm gonna say Spain is gonna go through. Spain is gonna go through. It's gonna basically beat Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal because I just think that the drama that's happening in the locker room between Cristiano Ronaldo and the rest of the teammates is gonna be too much. And I think the longer the tournament goes, the more lingering it's going to be. So that's what's going to happen. So here are our semifinalists. We got Argentina versus Brazil and Denmark versus Spain. Ooh. All right. So before we talk about Spain and Denmark, Spain and Denmark. Let's talk about that first before Brazil and Argentina. This one's a tough one. But the other one's going to be even more tougher. I think I have Denmark going into the final. They're going to go to their very first World Cup final because you do need a first-time finalist, right? So I think Christian Eriksen will guide Denmark, the Danes, to their very first World Cup final. I just think they have a better chance to edge out against Spain. Now, don't get me wrong. Spain does have top talent. Don't get me wrong. But there's just something about this Denmark team that is special. I just see it in them. I don't know what it is. but they are awesome. And if you're a neutral, I think Denmark would be the best team to cheer for, besides the United States, of course. And then now we have this, the mouth-watering Classico, the classical of classicals, Argentina versus Brazil. This one would basically break the internet ratings. This would be the most watched semifinal in the entire history of the modern day World Cup. And this one's a tough one, right? Because it's basically between Neymar and Messi. But something tells me, and look, I'm wearing the Brazil shirt. You think that you think I'm going to go for Brazil? Well, you would be wrong, my friends. You would be wrong. Because I'm creating the most dangerous sin right here. I have an Argentina jersey right here. Right? You can imagine Brazil and Argentina. Right? Because I like these players. I like the way they play. But I have a feeling that this is the hardest one. Because in one part of me, I want Messi to win his World Cup. But the other part of me, Neymar would basically destroy all his detractors and saying that he was one of the best players, even through all that crap that he goes through. But I'm going to say Argentina goes through. Because Argentina is in the minds of basically Brazil. Because they have beaten Brazil in Brazil. And they are no stranger to beating Brazil in any other venue, right? So even if Brazil is coming for revenge, I think most of the revenge is towards Germany, not Argentina. So, but I think Argentina edges us out and probably would be watching one of the best semifinals in a long time. So our final would be Argentina versus Denmark. And that one, my friends, would be cemented with Messi. So Messi would win his very first World Cup and basically shushing his haters and basically saying he is the best player of the 21st century because he has won everything in domestically, internationally. So that's how I believe my bracket would go. So what did you guys think? What did you guys think of, my bracket, right? Do you think, is it a good bracket? Is it realistic, right? Make sure you tell me in the comments below. And again, the World Cup is only a couple of hours away. We basically spent about 30 minutes talking about my prediction of Kicking Balls FC, who would win the World Cup. So rest easy, guys. Tomorrow, it all begins. And it's going to be one of the most awesomest experiences. And once in a lifetime, I would add. Because I don't think there's going to be another type of World Cup that's going to happen in this calendar date. So rest up, everyone. Enjoy the World Cup. It's happening. It's basically here. And I'm ready for the ride. I'm ready for the goals, the celebrations, the heartache, the depression, the celebration, the shock, the surprise, and just the World Cup. That's what the World Cup is. The mix of emotions of both triumph and defeat. All right, guys. Be sure to rest up. It's going to be a wonderful ceremony tomorrow. And again, if you like, don't forget to like the button, hit that like button, subscribe to Kicking Balls FC, and can't wait for this World Cup to start. I'm going to rest up, get some sleep, have an awesome experience in the World Cup. All right? Peace out.